The truth about the silent mistakes in masturbation. After 60 and how to protect your vitality, circulation, and intimate connection. I've sat across from hundreds of men in their 60s, 70s, even 80s. Most of them didn't come to me because of one specific symptom, but because of something harder to name. A quiet sense that something was slipping away, and often it started with something deeply private, their habit of masturbation. They would speak in soft voices, sometimes with a hint of embarrassment. "I still do it, doctor, but it feels like my body isn't the same anymore." Or, "I feel like I'm getting weaker, but I don't know why." In those moments, I'm not just a doctor, I'm a companion, a listener. Sometimes the first person to say what they've longed to hear. You've done nothing wrong, but there are a few important things you were never taught. Because the truth is this, masturbating after 60 doesn't make you weak, but how you do it, especially the 4 silent mistakes most older men make, can quietly harm your body. These habits can reduce blood flow, drain your energy, disrupt circulation, and slowly dim the most sacred connection you have, with yourself and with your partner. I'm not sharing this to scare you. I'm here to help you reclaim what you still deserve. Vitality, sensation, confidence, not just in intimacy, but in how you walk, breathe, and feel fully alive every single day. So if you care about your health, your independence, and your deep emotional connection after 60, I invite you to subscribe to Advice for Seniors and turn on notifications so you won't miss out on honest, practical medical wisdom, inspiring insights, and healing truths that we share every week. And if you're ready, let's begin with the most common mistake, one that most men don't even realize they're making until it's too late. Mistake number 1, using too much pressure, too fast, the rush that kills circulation. Many of the men I've spoken with, though they care deeply for their bodies, unknowingly cause harm with one seemingly harmless habit, using too much pressure when they masturbate. And I understand why. As we age, sensitivity in the genital area naturally declines. The sensations that once felt sharp and immediate now become faint. So many men instinctively start gripping harder, moving faster, trying to feel something. But your body, especially your penis, was not built to endure that kind of force at this age. It's a delicate system of thousands of tiny blood vessels, sensitive nerve endings, and soft elastic tissue. When you constantly apply intense pressure, even for just a few minutes, you're slowly damaging those vessels. Micro tears, inflammation, scarring over time. You might not notice it immediately, but one day you realize you're not getting as firm, or the sensations feel distant. And the worst part? You start blaming yourself, instead of realizing this is just the result of too many rushed, forceful moments. I once worked with a man named Michael, 69 years old, who came to me with a troubled look. He said, "Doctor, it feels like my penis has aged faster than the rest of my body." After a thoughtful conversation, I discovered he had been using intense pressure when masturbating, trying to wake up some lost feeling. I guided him to adjust, not with pills, not with interventions, but by starting over, gently, slowly, and with full presence during each touch. 2 months later, he came back with a smile I hadn't seen before. "I think I'm learning how to love myself again, doctor," he said. And that's what I want you to remember. At this age, you don't need intensity. You need refinement, a bit of patience, a bit of awareness, a bit of kindness toward yourself. That's more powerful than any force you could apply. Because if you don't care for those delicate blood vessels today, one day they may no longer carry the strength to keep you connected to something precious. The feeling of being alive, of being touched, of being loved by yourself and by the one you cherish. Mistake number 2, skipping the circulation warm-up and the quiet price you pay. When you were younger, you could probably initiate intimacy at any moment with just a bit of excitement or imagination. But after 60, things aren't that simple anymore. I often compare the male body after 60 to a classic car. It still runs, still powerful in its own way, but it needs some warming up, some care before a long journey. Yet far too many men skip this step. They jump straight into stimulation without any preparation. No body warm-up, no circulation activation, No safe emotional space for arousal to blossom. And the consequences? Tissues already weakened by age are suddenly overwhelmed by rapid blood flow. Fragile blood vessels can't dilate fast enough. What could have been a fulfilling moment instead turns into a sense of disappointment, sometimes even quiet physical pain. I once cared for a man named Robert, 73 years old, living alone, very health conscious. He had no chronic conditions, but lately felt that his body wasn't cooperating anymore. After talking, I realized he often masturbated at the end of the day. When he was tired, circulation was slow and he was in a rush. No warm-up, no breathing, no time for the body to sink in. I suggested something very simple. Before starting, walk around gently for 5 minutes. Breathe deeply. Massage the lower abdomen softly, not to build arousal, but to awaken circulation, to tell your body, it's okay, we're here, in this moment. 2 weeks later, Robert said, I didn't think a few deep breaths and simple motions would make such a difference. It felt like I reconnected with myself. No rush, no force. And that's the key. You don't need a body like you had at 20. You just need a body that's loved the right way. Warming up isn't about stronger pleasure. It's about protecting blood vessels, ensuring the flow stays smooth, uninterrupted by haste. Because after 60, even the smallest action is like a letter to your future. Do you want to live your next years in connection, or in the quiet sense of fading? Mistake number 3, repeating too often without recovery, when enthusiasm becomes a silent burden. Many men carry a lifelong belief that being consistent is always good, that the more frequent, the more healthy you are, that if you don't use it, you lose it. But your body after 60 is no longer the same as it was at 30. What once symbolized vitality, if done too frequently now, can become a burden on your circulation, your heart, and your spirit. I once worked with a man named David, 68, widowed, living alone in a quiet countryside. At our first session, he said, Doctor, I think I'm still healthy. I still have urges a few times a week, but lately I feel exhausted after. No longer refreshed. Sometimes I get a mild headache, fast heartbeat, and feel empty. I gently explained to him that every time you engage sexually, even with yourself, your circulatory, nervous, and endocrine systems are involved. It's a form of exertion, though subtle. Without proper rest between, each session becomes like putting extra strain on a tired bridge until it cracks. David was quiet for a long time. Then he asked, So, how often should I do it? I didn't give him a number, because what matters isn't the frequency, it's the feeling, the ability to listen to your body. If after each time you feel recharged, lighthearted, that's a good sign. But if you feel drained, disconnected, or need a long time to recover, it's time to pause, breathe, and let your body guide you. Because after 60, rest isn't laziness, it's recovery. It's how you preserve vitality, gently, slowly, but steadily. We're no longer living in the race of youth. Now each intimate moment is a gift, and you deserve to receive that gift fully, without rush, without fatigue. Mistake number 4, losing the mental connection with your body. When your hands touch, but your heart is elsewhere. After more than 30 years of working with older men, I've realized something. There are mistakes that don't make noise, that leave no visible scars. Yet they slowly numb your blood flow, your mind, and your confidence in your own self. Losing connection with your own body is one of those silent mistakes. I once asked a patient, the last time you touched yourself, did you really feel anything? He looked surprised for a moment, then said, I don't think so. I just do it out of habit. Quick, then done. I don't think much about it. You see, masturbation isn't always a problem, but if each time you do it, you're disconnected, your mind wandering, your emotions numb, your heart absent, then you're creating a lifeless habit, a mechanical motion that no longer elicits a response from your body and leaves no joy behind. The sad part is that many men don't even realize it. When you lose connection with your body, the signals between the brain, nervous system, and blood vessels grow faint. Blood flow slows down, sexual reflexes weaken, and sensations fade away. You think it's just aging, but often it's something else. it's abandoning yourself. I always tell my patients, after 60, your presence, being truly there in the moment, is the most powerful medicine. When you touch your body with gentleness, respect, and connection, you awaken emotional threads long forgotten. You tell your heart, I'm still here and I'm still worthy of love. So don't just touch the skin, touch the person beneath. Feel the heartbeat, the breath, the quiet emotions that may have been left behind. Let each moment become a journey back to your body, to compassion, to the life still flowing inside you. A deeper warning: when small mistakes add up to irreversible loss. There are things in life that don't hurt right away, but like a roof with a few misplaced tiles, if you ignore them, one storm is all it takes to bring it all crashing down. The sexual health of a man over 60 is no different. Every time you apply too much pressure, every time you skip the warm-up, every time you neglect recovery, every time you disconnect from your emotions during intimacy, these small acts quietly create cracks beneath the foundation of your well-being. No screams, no alarms. Just one day, you notice your body no longer responds like it used to. Sensation fades, connection feels distant, and you begin to wonder, am I reaching the end of my life as a man? The answer is no. But if you continue letting those mistakes pile up without making changes, your body will slowly forget how to work the way it once did. Blood vessels will harden, erectile tissue will lose its elasticity, and even your feelings may dry up, like a love letter never sent. That is the silent tragedy of many older men. They don't lose their vitality because of age. They lose it because years of unnoticed habits have worn them down, from the inside out. But here's what I want you to remember. It's never too late to change. If you begin today with awareness and care, your body can still heal. It can still remember. It can still live again. Start by believing that you deserve a healthy body, a deep emotional life, and an old age lived in connection, not in silence. And if you're wondering, what can I do to regain what I've lost? Then the next part is just for you. How to restore circulation and vitality. After 60, if you've read this far, I want to offer you a heartfelt thank you, because not everyone is willing to face such a sensitive subject as sexual health in later life, and even fewer have the courage to make a change. But I believe that you, the man reading these words, are one of the rare few who do. Not because you're chasing perfection, but because you want to live truthfully, deeply with yourself. So how do you begin the journey of recovery? Start with the smallest things, the ones that hold the most value. Be gentle with your body. Don't force yourself to feel like you used to. Instead, learn to touch yourself with kindness, with deep breathing, and with real presence. Your body will hear you and respond. Warm up your circulation. Before each moment of intimacy with yourself, stand up, take a slow walk, breathe deeply a few times. Place your hand on your lower belly and gently massage in a clockwise motion. Just a few minutes, but they are a gentle whisper to your blood vessels. Get ready, I'm coming back to you. Allow enough rest between sessions. After 60, your body needs more time to recover, both physically and emotionally. Don't pressure yourself to keep up the old rhythm. Let each moment be rich, not because of frequency, but because of depth. Be fully present. When you touch your body, don't let your mind drift away. Listen to every signal, every breath, every subtle sensation. Because it is this presence that awakens vitality, not just in your body, but in your soul. And most importantly, let go of judgment. You are not strange for still having desires at this age. You are not too old to want love, connection, and a life lived fully. On the contrary, you, with all the experiences you've gathered, are the one most worthy of living deeply into the emotions still waiting to be felt. I have seen many men step into their 70s, even 80s, and live those years with more strength and meaning than in their youth. Not because they were as physically strong, but because they understood the value of patience, of presence, and of a body nurtured with love. If you are still breathing, you still have the right to live deeply. If you can still feel, you can still connect. And if you are still reading these words, then believe me, you are not too late. The journey to restoring vitality doesn't begin with a pill. It begins with a choice. The choice to pause, to listen, and to begin again, in a new way, a gentler way, a more loving way. Choose that, not just for yourself, but for the partner, present or future, who is waiting for you just ahead.